Let's stir the pot a bit. Society's adulation for single mothers needs a reality check, especially when it seems like they're sculpting future delinquents destined for a life of chaos. Growing up in the concrete jungle of a tough city, surrounded by hardened individuals and an environment that doesn't pull punches, I've had my fair share of encounters with less than ideal characters. Strangely enough, the violent or worrisome folks I've met all seem to share a common upbringing, raised by single mothers. Contrastingly, the well-adjusted good kids hailed from stable homes with the luxury of having two parents at the helm, while the bullies lacking empathy emerged from the chaos of broken households. Now, this isn't a sweeping judgment on every kid from a single-parent setup, but there's a troubling pattern that can't be ignored. What's truly mind-boggling is society's penchant for showering single mothers with praise, even when their decision-making and responsibility seem questionable at best. It's almost as if we're collectively donning rose-tinted glasses, blind to the potential ramifications of romanticizing what might be a less-than-ideal family structure. So perhaps it's time for a reality check, a moment of pause to reconsider our standing ovation for single mothers and delve into the nuances of their choices and the impact on the next generation.
Children or future criminals? Society should reconsider its praise for single mothers who, in many cases, seem to be raising troublemakers destined for a life of crime. Growing up in a tough city surrounded by hard people and a challenging environment, I've encountered my fair share of unsavory characters. Strikingly, I've never come across a violent or worrisome person who wasn't raised by a single mother. All the well-adjusted, good kids I knew came from stable families with two parents at home, while the bullies lacking empathy hailed from broken homes. Of course, this isn't a blanket statement about all kids from single-parent households, but a significant number seems to follow this unfortunate trajectory. Despite this observation, society appears to shower single mothers with praise, despite their questionable decisions and irresponsibility. The evidence is glaring when you delve into prison statistics. Single mothers, as a collective, acknowledging there might be exceptions, don't seem to be producing law-abiding citizens. Isn't it just common sense that a family with a mother, father, and children is the ideal environment for raising kids? Consider the statistics. 70% of juveniles in detention, 63% of juvenile suicides, 71% of high school dropouts, 90% of juvenile runaways or homeless, and 75% of juveniles in substance abuse programs come from single-mother homes. It's an unfortunate reality, but it needs to be acknowledged. What's bewildering is how single mothers often blame men for leaving but rarely take responsibility for choosing poorly in the first place. They've seemingly prioritized their own desires over the future well-being of their children. The consequences are evident years down the line, yet their primary focus remains on pursuing relationships with bad boy figures. They act surprised when these men, like Blowtorch, the ex-convict, don't stick around, or, when they do, engage in harmful behavior. The possibility that their behavior might be unappealing to average, intelligent men never seems to cross their minds. It's a laughable sense of entitlement. The true tragedy lies in the impact on the children who grow up emulating their parents, perpetuating the cycle. It's akin to a social virus affecting our species, albeit not biologically but socially. Fortunately, statistics for single fathers paint a much more positive picture than those for single mothers. Downsides of dating single moms. Now let's talk about the downsides of dating single moms. The concise answer is, you'll never be a priority. Buckle up for some controversial real talk about dating single moms. Brace yourself because the unfiltered truth is about to hit you. The TLDR version is simple. You won't be a priority. Now let's dive into the juicy details. Dating a single mom is like signing up for a supporting role where you're expected to play second fiddle to her kids. And guess what? Your feelings might just be tossed out the window when the breakup bomb inevitably drops. You'll find yourself perpetually on the sidelines, with your concerns silenced because, hey, kids come first, and your place is nowhere on the priority list. But wait, there's more. Factor in the potential drama from her friends and ex-husband, who might inexplicably hate your guts. Ready for a life where you're not even on the list of priorities? If you're cool with that, go ahead, be the unsung hero in her family drama. However, if you're not into being a perpetual sidekick and prefer being a relationship VIP, it might be a genius move to consider that maybe, just maybe, single mothers are best left to their solo adventures. You're expected to put her and her kids first, and your feelings will likely be disregarded when the inevitable breakup happens. Dating a single mom often involves being constantly sidelined in favor of her children's desires. You're not allowed to voice your concerns without being labeled the heartless guy. Kids first, guy nowhere on the list. Add to this the fact that her friends and ex-husband may harbor unwarranted animosity toward you. If you're comfortable never being a priority while shouldering the responsibilities for her and her family, then by all means, proceed. Otherwise, it might be wise to consider that single mothers, in all fairness, should remain single. You can sidestep all these issues by simply not pursuing relationships with single mothers. In my experience, single mothers can be likened to the nice guys of the female world. Similar to the nice guy syndrome, where a man feels entitled to a woman's attention for merely meeting basic social expectations, single mothers often harbor an unearned sense of entitlement for a relationship, coupled with a lack of basic maturity and outdated views on gender roles. Not dating them doesn't diminish a man's worth. In fact, it's a reflection of their consistent display of immaturity and the belief that men should be there solely to support them. The harsh reality is that many single mothers exhibit toxic traits. From my perspective, most single mothers are a recipe for disaster, and I avoid forming connections with this archetype due to the unnecessary drama they tend to bring into one's life. Notably, these single mothers are often the ones attempting reproductive coercion, seeking to trap a guy into a relationship by having a child. It's a manipulative tactic that can lead to the unsuspecting guy being financially responsible through child support. In many cases, especially those marked by entitlement, viewing single motherhood as a massive red flag is a reasonable stance. Playing the victim is a common strategy employed by these single mothers. Despite having a multitude of dating options, they willingly choose to engage with someone who might be considered less than ideal. It's improbable that a guy suddenly transforms into a bad boy player out of nowhere. These women likely knew what they were getting into, attempting to trap such a guy with the prospect of having a child and subsequently seeking a more stable partner, often labeled as a beta male, to fulfill the role of a real man by covering bills and helping raise the child. The prevalence of single mothers on dating sites is hard to ignore. However, it raises the question, why would a man want to raise another man's child? A sensible man typically aspires to build his own legacy and invest time in nurturing his biological offspring. Hence, steering clear of single mothers might be a prudent choice, considering the complexities and potential pitfalls associated with such relationships. And that's it for today on Sigma Traits. Make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you can be the first to know when my new video drops. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.